to be able to take care of it, then I'm going to be showing you some stuff. So, SEW. The first item I wanted to talk about is this beautiful flannel quilt behind me. I'm really, really pleased on how this came out. This is a turning 20 pattern, and it's very simply made of 20 flannel fat quarters. Now, this isn't just any old flannel. This is Moda Farmhouse flannel. Beautiful quality, nice and thick. It's not going to be this thin flannel. So we have a 20 fat quarter pack. Now, this is letter A. This is 20 pieces, and it's $79.99. If you care to have that in your comments, just do sold A. So the 20 fat quarters made the whole inside of this quilt here. Now, it's beautiful. It's very soft but striking. It has all your shades of blue, your dusty blue, your teal blues, your indigo blues, and your browns. A soft chestnut, medium brown. We have a really rich ebony brown, and it's in solid stripes and textures. So good for everybody. So that's your 20 fat quarters. But you might say, Kayla, I want to make the whole quilt. So what we did is we put together a finishing kit. So 20 fat quarters, you kind of can do what you like. If you'd like to make the whole quilt, we have a finishing kit that will include 4 yards of flannel. We use 2 yards in the borders, you might not be able to see that, inner border and binding over in here. So the nice steel gray is your inner border and binding, and the houndstooth is your wide border. So you get 4 yards of the farmhouse flannel and the turning 20 book. Very popular, 20 fat quarters. So this quilt was actually made with, if you give me 1 second, the Superman quilt. Very easy. The other thing I like, these pieces are not too little. So when you're working with flannel, they're easy to piece together. Someone asked the size of this quilt is 82 by 98. So you're bigger than a full, but not quite a queen. So that finishing kit is letter B, and that is $59.99. So that will finish off borders and binding and the book. So A and B were your flannels, and I put them up, and I'm going to hold them up nice and tight so you guys might be able to see the colors. These are the nice blues into creams, and also grays into browns. So I hope you enjoy that. I was really, really, really pleased on how that came out. So the next thing I'd like to show you, and you might have seen this along the way, but I'm going to kind of show you. The next thing is letter C, as in cat. I have a very nice cat at home that will want to be with me the minute I get home, and then he'll bite me. So that's what, and actually it's kind of funny. This is an all-white cat. Very pretty. I named him Cotton because it reminds me of like cotton balls and the cotton on the plantation and things like that. So Cotton is my kitty. So number C, letter C, is a wool mat. It's 13.5 inches by 13.5 inches. So I'm going to kind of show you a little bit about this. You might have seen these around. You might say, Kayla, what do I need this for? First of all, you can place it anywhere. If you have a side table next to your sewing machine, if you have it on wood, formica, it doesn't matter. You can put this right on your surface. It is wool, and it has some flexibility, okay? When we used to iron with a true ironing board, it was hardwood, hard, crisp. You went to iron your seams, and you saw that ridge right down where your seam was. A wool mat, that fabric kind of sucks right in, so you don't see that ridge. That's number one. Number two, when you're ironing, the heat will come down and also up. So it's actually giving you a little bit more even heat on your project. Some of you ladies might be doing machine embroidery, right? You have those beautiful machine embroidery things, maybe something for Christmas. When you press a machine embroidery piece on your traditional ironing board, see what I got on the edge of that embroidery? Got those little pieces that are not quite flat. So when you press your embroidery on a wool mat, you don't get that because your embroidery has room to move into the wool mat. So that's just some of the things that I think are kind of nice on a wool mat, like here. So this is going to be, I'm going to be using it in a minute. This is your wool mat, 13 by half by 13 and a half, $39.99. Show the Turning 20 book. Okay.
Which book is it in?
This is Turning 20 number 5. It's called Simply Sashed. That's the book that we made that from. Now, the Superman quilt, if I get back to that, if you own a lot of the Turning 20 books, this is the traditional beginning Turning 20 pattern. They just call it Superman in this book. So it's out of book number 5. So, okay. So you got to press, right? You're going to be pressing your fabric. You might want to use a starch alternative. Okay, I'm going to say we all know a starch alternative is usually Best Press, one of the ones on the market. When you use Best Press, you get clumps. Okay, I'm doing this and you get little clumps. It's not a really fine misting that we could do with a misting bottle. So the next item, actually I shouldn't have done that, but we'll just let that go. So the next item is a mister, which is a fine misting bottle. You can put anything in here. You can put Best Press. We actually use one of these bottles. We put a Clorox and water mixtures because we sanitize. Just use them. It's a really, now I'm going to do this and see if you can see. You probably can't, but really fine mist. So you're not going to get that clumping the way you do with out of the bottom like a Best Press. I'm going to give you a little suggestion. If, you know, we're in flannel season. We love this. When you sew with flannel or when you press with flannel, flannel kind of stretches, right? It doesn't have as tight as a thread count as your standard fabrics. So you got a little bit of give here. We want to stabilize this flannel. I don't want it to stretch. So when you're pressing your fabric before you cut it, what you want to do is you want to use your mister, if you have one, or your Best Press. Press it, spray it on the back side of your flannel, and then iron. You'd be surprised how much stability you have in that flannel, and you're not going to get stretched fabric. In the long run, over the years, we've always thought of a starch alternative or a Best Press for your regular fabrics. Flannel, it's wonderful. It keeps it nice and stable. So that is letter D. That's the fine mister, $12.99 for the misting bottle. Right here. All right. Now I'm going to plug in my little baby iron for a minute and let that heat up. And this is something new, and I think it's kind of cool. See? Cool pins. I didn't even plan that. So this next item I'm going to kind of show you is called Cool Pins. It's 50 pins for $10.49. And it's letter E as in everyone. So first thing is they're a fun color. They're purple. The second thing is if you look at the head of this pin, if you can see it, it's kind of shaped almost like a ballpoint right there. They're easy to take. They're like really easy to grip, and you're not going to lose them the way you do maybe with a glass head pin or something. So the pin head is quite nice, easy to grip, nice and long. But why do they call it cool? They call it cool because if you were pressing and had an iron, the head is not going to melt. So by chance, if you hit it with an iron, you're not going to get that shrivel up with the pins. So these are actually cool pins. Again, 50 pieces for $10.49, and letter E on that. So I'm going to leave a couple there because I need them in a minute. So F. We all have rotary cutters. And if you're like me, they're all over the place. And then sometimes you can't find them. So maybe you need to treat yourself or someone with a new rotary cutter. This is called the Splash Rotary Cutter. It is Alpha, which is a really good brand. It's 45 millimeter, nice purple color again, priced quite nicely at $17.99. So that's a little bit of a special purchase on the Splash Rotary Cutter. Has a lock on it, nice handle. Easy to change with the blades. So this is the Splash Rotary Cutter. Letter F, as in fabric, $17.99. Now, so you have these rotary cutters, and you don't want them laying around. You want to be able to keep them in a nice place. So look how cool this is. This is a rotary cutter case. Almost looks like an eyeglass case. We have them available in two colors, the pink, or my favorite, the lime green. They are letter G, as in, what would that be? Would be good for? G is grain, like a grain line on fabric. How's that? That was out of the top of my head. Okay, so they're $9.99. So let me show you. I opened one up. Hard case. Open them up. You have room to put your cutter and other little tools. So it's a really nice little project for you, little piece for either yourself or a friend. So that is letter G as in George, lime or pink, $9.99. And I love quilting on the pink. Cut it out, rotary cutter, on the green. So, you might have seen this, but this is a perennial favorite, and I like to show this. This is what's called a block lock ruler. I'm going to be showing it in the 6.5 inch size. It's sold H, and it is $27.99. This is used when you do a lot of your half square triangles and you need to square them up. And a lot of times I hear, ooh, I don't know how, they don't come out quite right. So I'm going to move this over for a sec. The block lock ruler, this is anywhere from 1/2 inch to 6.5 inch. But if you see on the back side right here, there's actually a groove cut out. This groove is going to lay into your seam allowance. So it's going to kind of lock, meaning block lock. It's going to lock in that seam. So I'm going to show you. I have just a little baby sample made up here. And where, pray tell, my glasses? Here we go. All right, so we did half square triangles black and white, so you can kind of really see what's going to happen. So we did an oversized piece, and we sewed a 1/4 inch seam. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold your seam. Whoops, let me switch this around here. There we go. There, okay. Now, see what I'm going to show you what I was doing wrong, because I think that's important. I was going like this, and nothing's happening. I'm kind of like not locking in. I had it the wrong way. So right here, I want this seam, this ridge to fit right in this seam here. So what I'm going to do is lock that in just like so. There, just like that. So the first thing you're going to do is just trim just a hair off of one side. So you're going to use your rotary cutter and you're going to trim. Okay, number 2, we have a trim side just like that. So you're going to lock that in and you're going to be trimmed right in. Then once you have that trimmed in, you can move your ruler up and down that seam that's locked in. See, I can't move it. So if I wanted to do a 5.5 inch block, I could roll that down and trim to 5.5. If I want to do a 4 inch block, I could roll that down and again locked in and cut. So it's a really nice way. You can do all the sizes up to 6.5. Ridge right in the middle. So that's what's called a block lock ruler. That is letter H.
H. Yep.
H. $27.99. And I should say they're made in USA, which is kind of nice. They're small. They started as a very small company, and they've done, I think, quite well. So that's a nice independent company there. All right, now this is kind of fun. This is actually letter I, and it's a bias tape maker. There's a while when these suckers were way on back order, you couldn't even get them. But what I like about this one, instead of buying an individual and an individual and an individual, this is a set of 4 different size bias tape makers. And I want to kind of take a minute, if I could, and show you how these work. So this is letter I. It's $14.99, and it's the bias tape maker set, really, because you're getting 4. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to cut out your bias, and if you want to cut it on the bias, so we have some give, and all your rulers, your 6 by 24 inch rulers, they have those lines with a 45 degree. That's how you're going to position your fabric, so you can cut out your fabrics like that. Now, before I do much, the bias tape maker has 2 sides. This side has a little slit in it. Okay, that's where we're going to start. Then we're going to flip it over and feed it through this nice size, and I'm doing a 1 inch bias tape, so it'll fold over to 1/2 inch like that. So you're going to take your strip, and I've done this a bit, but you want to finger press into the center a little bit, okay? So we can feed this in. We're going to take and feed this in. But wait, what a pain in the neck this is. How am I going to get that in there? Wait and see. So the next thing I'm going to show you, because I want to jump around here a little bit, this is a brand new little tool. I like it. It's Seam Fix, F-I-X. It's letter J, as in Janome, and it's $14.99. But watch what it does. So we have 4 different pieces. First off, this white piece on either side is like a thread catcher. We do have to undo some seams. We use that seam ripper, and we got those little fuzzy threads. So this will pick up those threads on either side. So that's one thing. Number 2, a beautiful seam ripper. Now, it's nice and easy to grab. Good. You're not going to lose it. So you have a great seam ripper. But this is what we need. Open the other side. We got an awl. This is when we need to push things through. Now, some people even use this when they're piecing, if you need to just push your fabric through. But remember that little slit we got to work with right here? That's what I'm going to use. I'm going to just take that, and look how easy that is. So this is an awl, and that comes, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but that's part of the Seam Fix. So a nice awl seam ripper. So we have pushed it through. Now I'm going to turn it over, and Remember your nice cool pins? You're going to take a pin and position right here, and as you pull down, iron, 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 easy as peasy, just like that, and you've got nice bias tape. So this is a set of 4 bias tape makers, and 1/4 inch to 1 inch, so that's the different sizes in the pack. There are directions on the back, but basically, and this is kind of, you're not going to, if the iron gets here, you're not going to be melting this for here. So we use that cool pins again, so we'll hold those, and we're going to use and do some nice bias tape. And then obviously you'd be folding it in half to do bias tape. So coordinating, you want to do those projects, you're going to do like those nice microwave bowls, and you want to do the top edge, or you're doing some nice great pot holders for Christmas, make some nice bias tape like this. So bias tape maker, letter I, and it is $14.99. So you have all 4 for $14.99. So that's what that is right here. Now J, we talked about a little bit, but I'll just refresh for a sec. So the Seam Fix is the name of it. It's really, 3-in-1, and that is letter J, and that's $14.99. Nice awl. That's the unique thing, is we're getting the ripper and the awl all together. All together. Yep. Now, once we made our bias tape, and we need to attach it to either, your pot holder or the microwave bowl or whatever else you're doing, you might need, we don't want to use pins. They're going to go in here, they're going to bend. So these are the colorful fabric clips. They are usually $6.99. I have a nice purchase that I made, and they will be $3.99 for the pack. And I know you're going to ask, 12 pieces. 12 pieces in the pack. So if you haven't used these, they're little clippies, just like this. And they're easy to use. So if you're sewing or holding your bias tape on and need to sew right in here with your edges, they just clip. And as you're sewing, they're so easy to take off. So this, I think, is a nice, great little stocking stuffer. Maybe you need some for you. But these are called the colorful fabric clips. Letter K as in Kayla. There you go. $3.99 for 12. So that will be K. There might be a time or two where's my block lot? Okay, right over here. There might be a time or two where you need to mark your fabric, and there's a ton of pencils out there. But I wanted to share what we like a lot here. This is our most popular pencil. This is called the Soline Fabric Pencil. The beauty of this is it comes in multicolors. A lot of times it's really hard to mark on dark fabrics and have it show up. So this is actually a yellow pencil, and it's just like a mechanical one that you can do, and you can mark, and it will actually show up on black. So the beauty also is you can get refills. So you're not going to just have a throwaway pencil or you're done in one, you know what I mean? So the pencil comes with a set of refills here, and then again you can get refills separately. So this is a Soline pencil. We have it in yellow. It's sold L, and it is $13.99. You might say, yikes, $13.99 for a pencil, but you have the pencil and you have all the refills that come with it. So it's really a kind of a nice value, but it's very soft, and you can write on your different color fabrics, light or dark. So that's letter L, Soline pencil, yellow, $13.99. There we go. comes after L? M. M. So M and N are two very similar things. So I'm going to kind of talk about them both, okay? M is going to be the stash and store in the large size. If you're a sewer or you're a quilter, you got a lot of stuff around your sewing machine. You got pencils, you got little rulers, you got that beautiful new seam ripper that you're treating yourself to. So this is what they are. It's so Emma, very nice, very sturdy. These are kind of like silicones, so you can actually stick your different items, the purple tip needles, your pens, your pencils, right in there. It's kind of weighted, so it's not going to be wobbly. So this is actually the large size. And we have the large size available in aqua and purple. And they are $11.49. So stash and store, right in here. So that would be letter M. That's the regular, whoops, sorry, hon. Stash and store, right in here. Now, you might need just a little baby, right? Just a little small space by your machine. So this is cute as a button. This is called the mini stash and store, right in here. So this is letter N, and it's $9.49. This is the mini, right in here. Again, you can kind of put your different items right in, and they're going to stay. So easy peasy, get to use your tools like that. So again, we have those in the aqua and the purple, $9.49 on the Stash and Store mini, right in here. And okay, so I hope you're enjoying. I hope you're finding something that's new or something that you haven't seen before. Next thing I would like to do is talk about a couple of machine things. Number one, what's the thing you never have enough of in the machine world? I bet you can guess. It starts with a B, O, B, B, I, N, S. Sounds like a theme song, bobbins. So the first thing right here, you might need a little stocking stuffer, bobbins. These are Janome Bobbins. They're 10 in a pack. They're $6.99. Now, you might say, why do I need these? Janome makes the bobbins. They're a one-piece bobbin. They're not going to pop. There's actually, if you ever looked right in the middle here, there's a little J on them. So you know they're authentic Janome Bobbins. Some people say, well, I'll use a class 15. No, they're too low. They're shaped very nice for the Janome machines. So this is something kind of simple, but I like to always show it because you can kind of almost never have enough. So this is actually letter O, and it is $6.99 for the Janome Bobbins. Now, once you got all these bobbins, what are you going to do with them? You're going to put them in a jar, put them in a little glass bowl, and then they tip over, and it's a pain in the neck. So watch this. These are Bobbin Savers. Okay, we have red and purple. Let's do this here. Okay, R is first. Okay, so sold R is going to be the red Bobbin Saver. Now this is kind of, I don't know, like a silicone plastic. You can put different bobbins in here, regular bobbins. But watch this. This falls on the floor, nothing happens. They stay in there. I have tipped these around over in that sewing machine area by mistake. The bobbins stay in place, and you can fit quite a few in there. It doesn't really say. Holds over 20 bobbins. I think you can do more than that. But they stay in place. You're not going to lose them. So this is a Bobbin Saver. I actually stack them. If you have more than one that you need, you can stack them. And purple, again, back with a pretty color purple. This is Bobbin Saver. This is letter S, as in sewing. Will they fit a necky? Yes. Yes, they will. Yep. So right in here, Bobbin Saver, very nice, and they are $9.79. So just a nice kind of, easy way to keep your bobbins. Again, you can stack them up like that. And R and S are the Bobbin Savers. R and S.
The bobbins will fit a necky too?
Yes. Yes. Yep. Am I up to?
So next, you just did. I think you're up to the clear view.
Oh, you know what I did? Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I flipped around a little bit because I wanted the Bobbin Saver. All right, so you know me. I want to show you a foot. Last week I did the foot with the finger guard, so you don't go through your fingers or the little tykes. Learning to sew, get a good experience. So probably every one of you out there has a 1/4 inch foot if you're a quilter, right? So your 1/4 inch foot always is metal, and it has that black flange on the side. Sometimes it's hard to see your fabric. Sometimes you want to see your fabric with a 1/4 inch seam. And the foot I'm going to show you today, and it will work on both what I'm going to call 7mm machines. That's the opening of the feed dogs. Your 3160s, your 4120s, your 7700s. So 7mm. And then there's one for 9mm, the bigger, newer ones. The S7s, the 9450s, the 6700s, things like that. So both will be compatible, both of the same theory. So let me show you. What I would like to show you is, so the first one I'm going to talk about, they're both the same, but if you needed to order. This is a Clearview 1/4 inch foot, 7mm. Now, if you don't know, all we need is your model number of your machine and I can do it. We can match that up. This is sold P as in Peter, $20.99. Okay, now let me explain this to you. Can you see right here?
Yep.
Okay, so this foot comes with 3 things. The foot and 2 guides. Now, first off, you can see the foot is clear. That's why we call it clear view. So you can actually see your fabric going in there. You see this red line right here, right on the side here. That's where I'm going to line up my fabric going in. You have the different size openings, so you can get a scant 1/4 inch. So if your machine always sets up in the middle, and then you want to move it over 4.5 for scant 1/4 inch, you can do that with this foot. You also see a lot of red lines here. And you're going to have this red line right straight across here. That's interesting. That's a pivot line. If you sew down to that line, needle down and turn, that's a perfect 1/4 inch pivot on that right in here. You also see these tiny little red lines right here at the beginning of the foot, right in here. That is an 1/8 of an inch marking. So if you really want precision on your really narrow seams like that, that's where we would line up for the 1/8 of an inch. Now, you don't see any guide on this foot, right? It's just a clear view foot. Other than being able to see your fabric going in, which is part of the clear view, the second thing is some people don't want to use the guide all the time. One time in particular, and that's why I chose this for this week, thicker fabrics. When you're sewing flannel, that flannel can get caught in that black guide. I think sometimes you might know what I mean. It kind of is too thick. So you can do a 1/4 inch seam without the guide, which is quite nice. Now, if you want to see with your foot and get the guide, that's where this piece is going to help, and I will show you this. The second piece is actually going to be a stitch in the ditch guide, that when we screw it on to this screw, it's going to line up right in the middle, so we're going to stitch right in that guide, and right in that ditch. So, really useful foot. So I'm going to take one out of the package and see if I can show you what we're doing. So right here, this is the 7mm one right here. So this is what the foot looks like right in here. I think you can see it right like that, like that. Thanks. Thank you. So you see this big screw here on the side, which is right here? I'm going to loosen that up. And what I want to do is I'm going to take this skinny piece right here. It's kind of close. I'm going to slide that under the foot and tighten this up. And right now you have a clear view foot with the guide. So you have the beauty of following a guide on your fabric, just like that, but able to see your fabric. And also have your pivot marks and 1/8 inch marks. So this one guide kind of comes in right here. That's going to do our 1/4 inch. Seal's going to show you that a little closer. Okay, now I'm going to unscrew. Take that screw right there. I'm going to unscrew this and slide in the second piece. Tighten it up. Now the ridge is right down the middle. So if you're sewing in a ditch, that's going to sew right down the ditch. So you have clear view foot without a guide, clear view with your 1/4 inch guide, on the edge, and clear view with right down the middle for the ditch. And Seal will show you right there. Thank you very much. So that one, okay, we're back to, so clear view, P, whoops, I got to turn the iron off. That wouldn't be good.
And we have some questions today.
Yep, okay. Clear view 1/4 inch foot, 7mm, 2099P. So the same theory is for the 9mm. Your 9mm machines, you have that wider opening. Your ankle where you snap them on is a little wider. So this will be the same theory. But now, see how much wider that foot is? Because you're dealing with a 9mm snap-on. Again, comes with the 2 different ditch and guides for the center edge of the foot for quilting. Thank you. So the 9mm 1/4 inch foot guide set is $52.99, and that's letter Q. So if you have a 9mm letter Q, $52.99. I want to also mention, okay, can Nancy Richards use on, yes.
Horizon and Gem.
Horizon is a 7mm, so she's
Okay.
getting the 7mm for both.
7mm for that, Nancy. And then Margaret York, can you use it on an 8200 QC?
8200 is a 9mm. She needs the 9mm.
Margaret needs a 9mm.
Yep.
Michelle, does it come with a 15,000?
No, it's an optional foot. So
Okay.
that would be a 9mm for Michelle.
Okay.
Yep. So another interesting thing. You know, I kind of told you about this foot. But maybe a month from now, you're like, what'd she say? All Janome feet that come packaged like this, they have a front, they have a back, but lovely, when you open this up, there's great instructions with pictures. So I always let, sometimes you just do the packaging and you let it go, but it's really nice to kind of take a peek at these on the inside, so there's some really good feet like that, like that.
So Joanne Carpenter's asking, what would you need for a 6600?
7mm.
7mm, Joanne. Okay.
Sound good on the questions so far?
I think so.
Perfect.
Sorry about that.
No. I'm really happy to be able to answer these questions. So,
Yeah.
we're happy to get you going. Let's put it that way.
And then the 7mm is Joanne. Got it.
Yep.
Sorry.
So those are some of the things that I really want to share with you today. I'm very thankful that you're able to take the time and be with us. This is just another way for us to connect. it's a little nuts, you know that. We're trying to all be safe. So this way, you know, if you're from far away or you're just not able to come in or you're just sitting at home enjoying and you want to take a peek at us, I'm really happy you are. So next week we're going to definitely take a break. It's Thanksgiving week. We all have a lot to be thankful for. In times like this, you know, take a peek and look around your family. We're all very thankful. So early December, I'm going to do version 2 of my holiday gift guide. I'm going to be showing you some big things, and some other things like that. I know the sound, we're working on the sound, and I actually have a microphone coming for next time, but we'd love to hear your comments. You know, this is kind of going with the flow here. Love to hear your comments. Can you review all? Yes, I'll be glad to review all products. So also, if you were interested in something, not that, you know, I'll give it my best shot, but I'm looking for a way to connect with everyone, possibly they can't make it here, or as I say, just able to, you know, take a peek at home like that. I really value everybody that has, you know, not necessarily that's just on Facebook Live, but all our ladies and gentlemen, I keep forgetting to say that have come in and supported us through this time, whether it's been on, you know, website, email, orders online, shipping online, pick up in store, or even coming in store. So I want to say thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. 9450 9mm. Okay, so how about, I don't know if I'm going to go back in order, but let me show you. So, clear view. Okay, so let's go backwards, because that's where it's stacked. Letter Q and letter P were the clear view feet, okay? And they were the feet like this. Clear view, you can see your fabric. You can move your needle to do a scant 1/4 inch. You can use the foot without a guide. We love it with flannel, so it doesn't get caught in there. And then 2 additional guides. One for the edge of the foot, which would be for your 1/4 inch guide, and the other for the ditch. So we have 2 options. Q was for your 9mm machine, the bigger opening machines, and that one was $52.99. Your 7mm clear view foot, again, $20.99. There you go. So that was your different feet. We had Q, P, O. Okay, so O, we had talked just about Janome Bobbins. Okay, Janome Authentic Bobbins, 10 for $6.99. That's letter O. The wonderful Bobbin Savers. Okay, the 2 different colors. This would be red is R for red. These are like silicone. You put your bobbins in them. You could drop them. You could frisbee them. It doesn't matter. They're going to stay in there. And then purple is letter S. These are $9.79. So those are your Bobbin Savers. R, S. Okay, let's do this here. So M and N are going to be what I call the little stash and store. These are the little holders for your doodads, your rulers, your needles, your threads, your pencils and things like that. So letter M is going to be $11.49, and it comes in aqua and purple. And that would be right in here. These are the bigger size right here. And it looks like this in here. So it's kind of weighted. It's silicone again. So you can stick your stuff in there and it's going to stay like that. Mini, you want a little right next to your sewing machine or just a tiny little thing by your iron. Stash and store mini. These are $9.49. And these are going to be, again, in aqua or purple. And it looks just like this. Nice little stash and store with all your little, for your doodads, as I say, the doodads. I don't really know in the world of quilting if there's an actual doodad, but this is what I call this stuff right here. All your extras, right like that. So that's your minis. Okay, so now let's go to okay, they're not really in order, but you can see. Okay, this is fun. I was your bias tape maker. So this is a tool, and you get 4 in the set, anywhere from 1/4 inch to 1 inch, that you're going to be able to feed your bias strips through and make bias tape. I don't know if a lot of you know, but in this COVID times, a lot of companies have shortages. Bias tape we've been trying to get in here, forget it. We can't get it. It's back ordered, back ordered, back ordered. So this is just another way, in case you can't find bias tape, that you can make your own. And you can coordinate with your projects. So this is the 1 inch one that I showed how to do right in here. So you're going to be feeding this in and then folding, and as you go, you're just going to iron, iron, iron to make your bias tape in here. Now I'm going to scooch this back up for a second because, so bias tape maker, letter I, $14.99. Where is my stiletto? That's
What you looking for?
oh, I'll get it.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. Okay. Just bear with me. All right. So what I want, I'm going out of sequence, but you guys can follow me, I'm sure. So we did the bias tape maker. Part of the bias tape maker is when I go to feed this into this section with this little slit here, you got to push that through. And it's really hard to push that through. But this product right here that I was showing you, this is called the Seam Fix. And here we go. So this is going to be another thing. The Seam Fix, letter J as in Janome, and it's $14.99. So you got a couple of things going on. You got the little tips. This is like a thread catcher. When we use a seam ripper and you have that little fuzzy thread there that you got to get out, this can take it right off, right in here and here. Now you got 2 tips. One is going to be a seam ripper. Nice and easy to handle, okay, nice and ergonomically correct. But the other side is an awl, sharp as a bugger. So this awl, you can actually use this to push through to get yourself started. You can also use this to help your fabric through your machine with tiny little pieces. So that's an awl. So this Seam Fix, letter J, $14.99. We also, once we get this through the bias tape maker, we need to push our fabric through. And when we do that, these are new what's called cool pins. Cool pins are cool because you can iron over them. They're not going to melt. So the pin itself has a nice tip on it so we can hold it nicely, and they're nice and long. So when I want to position this right here, I can hold this in place right in here and just push through and press. Little iron, boom, 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 press. So cool pins were letter E, and they're 50 pieces for $10.99. So that is what is called the cool pins. This is done. All right, so that was our bias tape maker. Let's segue back.
Couple of questions.
Sure.
Will the Clearview feet only work on Janome machines?
It will, if you have a snap-on ankle, okay, snap-on foot, 7mm or 9mm.
Okay.
It's how it's going to snap on. Yeah.
And holiday sale on long arm machines? When are we?
Possibly.
Possibly. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She could email me at orders at fabricgarden.com.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Rotary cutter. We were talking. Everybody has lots of rotary cutters, but maybe you want another one. This is a really fun splash. It has the lock on the blade, easy handle, easy way to replace your blades. So this Splash rotary cutter was letter F, as in Frank, and it is $17.99. So it's a good value for a good brand. Olfa is a great brand of rotary cutter. It's been around forever. So that's what that is. Once you have your rotary cutter, and you don't want it flying all over your sewing room, we have a rotary cutter case. These are kind of fun. They're hard. You can zip them open. They have room for your rotary cutters and some other tools. And they are $9.99. So we actually have them in the pink color, which is called I Love Quilting, or the lime color, which is Cut It Out, which is kind of fun. So that is the rotary cutter case right in here. We have the Soul Line letter L was the Soul Line fabric pencil in yellow, $13.99. This was a pencil that actually works really well, mechanical pencil on light and dark fabrics. It has a mechanical pencil to click, 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 a little bit of an eraser if you had to get rid of it, but it also has refills. That's what we really like this. So it has the refills, so you're not just having a pencil and letting it go and getting another one. So refills in the original pack with the mechanical pencil and the refills, but you can also buy additional refills. So great new pen like that. Alrighty, so we have
Item P is sold out.
Item
which
P.
is clear view foot 7mm.
Don't worry, take
Oh,
them because I
okay.
can get more.
Okay, we
Yeah.
can get more.
Yeah, easily. Yep. Okay, so let's segue back to the bias tape maker here. So you made your bias tape. Okay, you pressed it in half so you have beautiful bias tape. You need to clip it to the edge of your pot holder, to the edge of the nice microwave bowls. So these are what's called colorful fabric clips. They're 12 in a pack. They're usually $6.99. I got a nice special purchase at $3.99 a pack. So they are like this, where you actually have got little clippies, so you can clip and hold rather than using pin. And easily, as you're sewing, you can easily take them off like that. So number K was the colorful fabric clips, and that was $3.99 on these right here. Block lock ruler was letter H.
Yep.
So that's letter H was the block lock. These are the rulers that have the ridge down the middle. So when you're going to line up your fabric, I move stuff around a little bit. So when you're going to move, see right now, I can't move it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but let me
You can see, yep.
Yep, you can. So things stay stable. So if you needed to just square up a little bit or trim off, we could just trim and then go into any size block you want. So this will go from 1/2 inch to 6.5 inch. That's the size of the ruler. Nice ridge down the middle. So for half square triangles, works great. So that is letter H, block lock ruler, $27.99. H. Okay, so now we're down to the wool mat. Okay, so wool mat. I was going to say, these have been around a little while, but maybe you don't really understand why would this be helpful for me. This is wool. It's going to be, it has some absorption. Okay, it's not hard as a rock like a regular ironing board. So when we iron, you don't get those ridges in your seams. And also the heat, when I use an iron, the heat will come down and up from the mat. You can use this mat anywhere. You can put it on a wooden table. You can put it on a formica. So it's very portable. So that's the portability of the wool mat in here. And the other thing that's quite nice, if you're doing machine embroidery, sometimes when you go to press it on a standard iron, you get those little wrinkles around the edge of your embroidery. This doesn't really happen because the fabric and the embroidery will suck into the mat and give you a better press. So wool mat was 13.5 inches square, and it's letter C, as in cat, and it's $39.99 right in here. When you're pressing, okay, a lot of times you might be using, I would imagine a lot of you ladies use best press when you're pressing your fabrics. It adds a little stability. It's a little firmer. So especially when you're doing half square triangles or cutting on the angle, it's going to stay more stable. But best press or other brands, there's other brands out there too. When this comes out of the, see how it kind of spritzes? It's not an even mist. So we actually sell what's called misting bottles. And misting bottles is letter D, and it's $12.99. Now what's nice about this is going to give just a nice fine mist. So we're not going to get the blotches on our fabric. Put anything in here. You can do best press. You can do water. We actually use one of these bottles up front for the Clorox water. Great for misting and cleaning up and sanitizing. The other thing, so we did the wool mat. The mister was $12.99, letter D. When you're pressing flannel, because we're going to talk about flannel, the last thing right here, use a mister, best press, or whatever you want to do, on the back side of your flannel. A lot of people think of a starch alternative for regular fabrics. Flannel has a tighter, doesn't have as tight a weave in the fabric. It's a little more stretchy. So it has a tendency to stretch, let's say, more than your traditional fabrics. So when you mist this up and press, again, stability. That's what's really nice about that. So that is the little mister.
There's only 2 more misters.
Okay. I can get more.
Okay.
Yeah. So the last thing, or the first thing I started with, the last thing I'm going to end with, is this beautiful quilt behind me. We really love the way this came out. The colors are very soothing. They're not really dark. They're not really light. We have the beautiful shades of blues, the browns. So we have this in 2 ways. One way, well, it comes in 2 sections. Let's put it that way. We sell a 20 fat quarter pack. 20 fat quarters. And they're flannel. But they're motor flannels and farmhouse flannels is the category. Beautiful, thick, nice flannel. They're not going to be real thin. So 20 fat quarters is going to be $79.99. So they're all in here. And that is sold A, because this is our first thing. 20 pieces, $79.99. Now, you might have your own special 20 fat quarter pack or 15 fat quarter pack. That's why we split this up. You might want just the fat quarters. But if you really love this, which is quite pretty, this is actually, we have a finishing kit. So you could finish this whole quilt with the border, inner border and binding is out of the steel gray. And then the houndstooth is going to be your outside border. And includes the book.
And I'm going to just pan so you can see the size of the quilt.
Sure. And the size of the quilt, I looked just a minute ago, was 80... Let me find it. 82 by 98. So it's a good size quilt. So the finishing kit would include 4 yards of the same motor flannels. 2 for here for the border and binding, and 2 for the wide border. So the finishing kit is $59.99, and it's sold B, is in boy. So that's what that would be. Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much. I won't be seeing you till after Thanksgiving. So again, enjoy the time with your family, friends, even if it's over Zoom, whatever you care to do. But I want to say again, thank you so much for all your support over, if you can believe it, 42 years. So, been happy to be here and hope you enjoy your holiday. Thank you.